let's talk really quickly about the buying process. You want to either first talk to a realtor or a lender. Some people might know a realtor, so they talk to the realtor first. Some people might know the lender, so they'll talk to the lender first. So no matter who you talk to, if you don't have one or the other, usually your realtor knows some lenders and your lenders know realtors. So you want to start that conversation with both of them. But before we go and do the house hunt, you definitely want to get pre-approved for your mortgage, because there's nothing worse than starting to go look at houses and what you think you're going to be able to afford, and then your lender comes back and it's like $50,000 less, and then you start looking at those houses in that price range. So you want to make sure to get that pre-approval first before you do that house hunt, just so you are looking in the area of your budget and what you're approved for that price point. So once you have that house hunt, some people find a house right away. Some people take a little bit longer. But when you find the house that you want to make an offer on, we will go ahead and we will discuss the offer. This is where I kind of look at that neighborhood to see if what the asking price, how that is setting. Sometimes you might be in a multiple bid situation where there's multiple offers coming in, so you have to take all of that into consideration. When your offer is accepted and all the negotiations on that are completed, we are called under contract because the contract's been executed. And there's two big time periods in this. The first is your option period, and this can be as little as 3 days up to as many as 10 days. This is a negotiated period between you and the sellers, and this is where you can do all of your inspections and make sure that everything looks good and that you're okay with the house. And if there are any repairs that need to happen, you're going to go back to the seller and negotiate those. Once all of that is agreed upon, you move into your it could be like financing contingent status or pending status, depending on where that's at. But that's just where your lender is doing all of their final steps to get us to the closing date. And that's the closing date where you go to the title company, as Stacy talked about. And the title company is the facilitator for all of this to transfer the ownership from the seller to you as the buyer, as the new owner of that house. So that's what the buying process looks like. Let me stop sharing that.
There was a question about that.
Yeah.
Do you show properties with people, for people that haven't pre-qualified yet?
I have, if they're, looking, for example, I had some clients who were coming in from out of town because they had a job offer with his company. And it would be a transfer. It was with the same company. It would just be a transfer. So he and his wife wanted to look at properties, and we did that, and it kind of helped them make the decision. They chose not to move here, but that was just, one day, and that was more for research purposes. But for the most part, I do try to encourage buyers to get with their lender and get an idea and get pre-approved, because there is nothing worse that, if you think you can afford a $350,000 house and maybe it's like a $300,000 house, the houses are going to look different than, so you just don't want to, think that you're getting a house here and then that's not where you're at. Or if you really do want that house, you work with that lender to talk about what you can do to afford it, because the lender can, look at the credit score and your debt and talk with you about an action plan to be able to get that. Like Jessica said, it's your starting point to your ending point. If this is where you want to be, what are the steps in between that you need to do to make that happen?
And speaking of that, Lisa, I did have one more thing I wanted to show on my rent versus own, if you don't mind.
No, go for it. And then I'll wrap up what I wanted to share with everybody.
Yeah. Let's do this. Okay. So what I wanted to share was your net worth. This is kind of a big deal, because when you are paying $1,600 a month, in 15 years, you've paid $309 of someone else's mortgage.
You mean $309,000?
$309,000. Yes, thank you, Lisa, for that catch. Versus spending your own money on your own home, doing whatever you want to do with it. And what that translates into is your total equity position. And so what that means is now you have equity in about 234,000 up to 262,000, depending on how much you're putting down at the front of your transaction. But that means that if you were to sell that house, theoretically, you'd be able to pull out $234,000. And if you just move out of your rent house after 15 years, you get nothing. So that's something a lot of people say, I build wealth with real estate. That's how they're building wealth with real estate, is you're paying into the equity portion of your home and you're building that wealth. And as it is doing a natural appreciation, as real estate tends to do, that is the trend, you're also getting the equity buildup of getting an appreciated home as well. So I wanted to mention that. Back to you, Lisa.
Okay, so one final thing, let's kind of talk about what buying and selling looks right now with everything going on with social distancing. The Texas Association of Realtors came out with 2 documents. One is the COVID-19 addendum, and this is really for those individuals who might currently be already under contract, or even it does apply to new contracts that are written, that basically says it's allowing for the close date to be extended for up to 30 days if for some reason, like the closing can't occur, like something's going on with the financing, the mortgage, all of that. And if the buyer is unable to fund the loan beyond what all the agreed upon terms, then, like, let's say they lost their job at the last minute, then according to this addendum, the contract can be terminated and the earnest money is returned. So that's, it kind of protects both the buyer and the seller in cases like this for situations that arise from COVID-19. Showings, we can still show houses. Open houses are not happening right now because of all the COVID-19 and the social distancing. Really, it's up to a seller if they want their house to be shown or not. So some agents are doing virtual tours of it. Some sellers are asking the buyer's agent only to come there and like FaceTime and do like a showing that way. Some sellers are asking that one of the other documents that was created by the Texas Association of Realtors, it's the COVID-19 certification. Some sellers are asking buyers to fill that out before they come to see a house, and basically it just asks those pretty generic questions. Have you had a fever? Do you have flu-like symptoms? Have, you know, just kind of that checklist to make sure that they're not exhibiting any symptoms of COVID-19 so that they can be allowed to go in the house. Some sellers are putting out hand sanitizer and gloves and wipes and other things at the door, asking for when people enter to put some hand sanitizer, you know, as they walk through things. So again, it's just kind of up to a seller's discretion right now and what buyers are also comfortable with. New construction, there are many models that are still open, but a lot of the sales people are requiring that only if you're truly interested. You know, a lot of people like to go look at homes because they want design ideas, or they just want something to do, or they want to see what's out there. If that's the case, if you're not really a serious buyer, if you're not looking to buy a house in the next couple of months, they really don't want you out at the model homes. There are a few builders where the models are closed, but they're still showing their inventory by appointment only. So this is where you definitely want to have your real estate agent contact that builder to see if their model is available to be shown or if they need an appointment. I think that's all I was going to say on that. So I don't know if there's any final questions for any of us. Mike, if there are, if you want to share those, otherwise we'll close out.
Yeah, I don't see any more questions. I think, you know, again, you know, I speak for everybody here. Thank you so much for this idea. There are a lot of changes, but business keeps going, business persists, and so shall we. So thank you for putting this on for us. I appreciate it, Lisa.
Well, thank you everybody for your participation in this. as well as to our guests. So I will go ahead and wrap it up and basically just say we really do want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to join us today. We hope that the information that you heard was very helpful and it will guide you as you make your decision whether or not to buy or sell a home this year. As you can see, surrounding yourself with a team that works well together makes the process a smooth one, even when curveballs like a pandemic is thrown our way. Should you have any other questions, I want to encourage you to reach out to one of us or all of us, or if you're ready to get started and you don't already have a realtor, a lender, a title company, or an insurance agent, and you would like to work with us, one of us or all of us, please, again, reach out to us. Here's our contact information. And again, thank you so much for your time, and we really hope that you have a fantastic day.